underpainting with my new products in my own little bitty baby makeup line, concealer and cream foundation. So the problem that I've been having with underpainting is that the silicone foundation that I've been using kind of covers up most of the under. I have to go back in over it and redo all the underpainting. So if you experience that, here's how we fix it. Like, how do I find a white makeup to underpaint with? And I couldn't answer you. I couldn't answer you because they're all toxic. They all have a petroleum base. This one, however, is perfectly safe, and I'm so excited to share it with you. Yes, it looks very white, and that's okay because you're growing in your makeup. You know how to take a really white foundation and make it work with a cream foundation and blend it to perfection. So it's nothing to be afraid of. Let's blend this in and start underpainting. This is the V105 concealer brush from Morphe. It's very inexpensive, available at probably all of the makeup stores. And I am finding that it's kind of magical. It's like this weird kind of perfect shape that really works well in these tight little spaces, but it's also very dense, so it's pulling it around. I've been telling most of you in your consults to do your concealer differently and to kind of think of it as 11s down the side of your nose instead of the triangles out here. So if you're doing that, this is just a grown-up version of that. Okay, this is definitely a max coverage look that we're going for. And I'm gonna keep blending this out. Super, super kind to the skin, okay? This concealer is absolutely non-toxic, excellent for all skin types, but it has power, okay? You need to know that. It is not wimpy. It's not super easy breezy. So this is for those of you that are ready to take makeup to another level. You've been working on your skills and you are ready to level up, okay? So now we've got this kind of worked in. I'm not gonna pay much attention over here. If I wanted to do some, baking effect right here, I would, but I'm gonna jump right in with foundation over this. I like my bronzer and my blush on the top. We're gonna do another video where we do the bronzer and the blush as the underpainting, but honestly, I just need a little bit more practice with that because some foundation. This is my foundation of my very own little baby makeup line. So excited to share this with y'all. I'm gonna do less of it right under the eyes, but we do need a little bit. We gotta warm that color up. All right, I'm gonna get a little bit right here. Okay, now I'll go in with the Siren brush and just kind of smooth it out. And look at this. So fun to know that what I'm putting on my skin is not going into my bloodstream and wreaking havoc, and I'm getting flawless finish. All right. One of the benefits of a cream foundation is that you have infinite dry time. Okay, it's never going to completely turn into something else like a liquid does because it is a cream. And so until you set it, it is flexible. All right, what do we think? We definitely need some bronzer and some color brought. So what do I mean by it needs to be set? You don't have to put powder all over your whole face. You're gonna have a lot of durability, and I'm gonna show you how to buff it to a shine, but I still do like to go in with a little face-shaped brush and just barely put some underneath the eyes. That's going to protect your under eye from grabbing any mascara and starting to dissolve the mascara. Okay, so let's talk about buffing this to a shine. Kind of discovered this several years ago when I started playing around with different tools to apply wax foundations. And I discovered, so most people were using something like this or the paddle, and I was not excited about that. But when I started using a round brush, a kind of a fluffy brush, and I started buffing the top of the Wax and Cream foundation, I got a sheen and kind of a durability that was different than what I had been experiencing and then what I was getting with powder. So I was having to powder the whole face to really get that solid coverage. And then I learned that I could buff it kind of like you would do furniture. If you've ever waxed furniture, you know, you take that cheesecloth and you have to create a little bit of friction, and then that wax turns into something else. Same thing can happen on your face. So here's how you do it. You just take a fluffy, clean brush, and you want to apply a lot of friction, but not a lot of pressure. All right. So it's going to take a little bit of practice, but you want to, if I was applying a lot of pressure, you would see the brush do this. Okay. But it's barely touching my skin, and I'm moving it fast across the top of my skin, but I'm not moving it with a lot of, I'm not digging in. Okay. So if you can go all over and give yourself a little buff, and it takes some time, and you don't have to do this by any means. It's not just going to come off. It's going to be extremely durable. This is just an added layer of durability, and it gives a little bit of a sheen. I don't know if it's translating on camera, but you're going to start to see a little bit of a glow. Okay, I think you can see it. Am I crazy? Y'all tell me in the comments. I think you can see that shine. All right, that's going to limit how much powder you actually need. Still recommend it right under the eyes. Well, this bronzer palette, every time I use it, somebody's like, oh my God, what is that? And I'm embarrassed to even use it because it has not been, I mean, it's a hot mess. But this is from Because, and it's their Radiant Beige Contour Palette. And I absolutely have obviously loved it well. Okay, I've used up all the powder that was here. This is one of my favorite contours. And in consultations lately, we've been talking a lot about double bronzing, using a cool shade just a tiny bit lower than you normally would, and then going in with a warmer shade right on top of that, just for a little bit more of a natural and sculpted look and less of that bronzy makeup all over your face. It can look a little fake if you have just a big stripe here. So changing your colors, doing this one a little bit lower, it looks a little bit more like a shadow, and then this one right on top. So you can do the top of the nose if you come in straight ahead, and then you can go back in with a little bit of this highlighter, and I like to put just a little bit of highlight right on the bridge of my nose and on the tip, and then you can go back over that if you feel like it was a little too much. There we go. Now we're gonna add blush. I was a sucker for this Natasha Denona glittery little palette. I fell head over heels. Cream blush in kind of a coral color. I kind of love it. And here's one of the great things about cream foundation. If you get too much, you go right back in and go over your blush or whatever it is that you got too much of, and it's going to just microfill over the top for perfection and look so real. All the finishing touches have been completed, and the concealer and foundation, you know where to go.